Welcome to part 6 and the final part of the module 10 review. So, given this, give the coefficient and degree of the term. Coefficient -10. Now, the degree of a term that has multiple variables is the sum of the exponents here. Because we have an x to the 13th and a y to the 14th, 13th and 14th is 27, so that's a degree 27 term right there. So that's what we have. Now, adding these things with multiple variables, we want to combine like terms. So this has an x cubed y squared. Are there any x cubed y squareds here? We have those right there. So here, 1 minus 4, negative 3x cubed y squared. And those are all of those. Now, here we have an x squared y cubed, which is different than what we had with the x cubed y squared. So we need them to have the same variables, and we need the exponents of each of the individual variables to be the same for them to be like terms. So our negative 3x squared y plus an x squared y is negative 2x squared y cubed. We have negative 2xy, negative 4xy, that's negative 6xy, and then 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So subtracting this, we want to go ahead and distribute this negative, making this a negative, this a negative, and this a negative. Now combining like terms, we have 4x squared y, then minus 2x squared y, gives us 2x squared y. We have 2xy, and then minus 5xy, that's minus 3xy, and then we have our negative 8xy squared. So multiplying these, we can use the box, or we can use FOIL. I'm just going to FOIL this out. 3m times 3m is 9m squared. The outside here, 3m times 8w is plus 24mw. The inside, negative 8w times 3m is negative 24mw. And then finally, negative 8w times 8w is negative 64w. Now, squared, These are conjugates, and you'll notice that the cross terms canceled off, so we have a 9m squared minus a 64w squared. So this next one, looks like we have quite a beefy multiplication going on. I'm going to use a box. So we have a trinomial times a trinomial. So we have, I'm going to go ahead and write the x squared, the 3y squared, and the negative xy up here. And then we have an x squared, a 7xy, and a y squared here. So multiplying these, we're adding the exponents again. This is going to be an x to the 4th. Here, we have a 3x squared, y squared. Here we have a negative x cubed y. Moving down here, 7x cubed y, so that's going to be a like term with that last one. Now we'll have 21xy cubed, and then here we'll have negative 7x squared y squared. Moving down, here's an x squared y squared. Here we're going to have 3y to the 4th, and then finally negative xy cubed. Now looking for like terms here, we have our x to the 4th right up here. It looks like we have a 3x squared y there. There's an x squared y squared there as well. So it gives us 4x squared y squared. So here we have negative x cubed y and 7x cubed y. That's going to be 6x cubed y. Well, it looks like here we have negative 7x squared y squared. That is going to have to go in with these. So this got a little bit messed up here. Let me get it back. So, looking at this again, sorry about that. We definitely have our x to the 4th. Now, this right here is an x squared y squared. Okay? This right here is an x squared y squared. And then this right here is an x squared y squared. So we have 3, 4, minus 7. So it's going to be negative 3x squared y squared. Okay, now we're back on track. So we took care of these. I'm going to go ahead and cross them out, noting that we did this. Now we have 7x cubed y and negative 1x cubed y for plus 6x cubed y. Okay, and then here we have an xy cubed. Here we have minus xy cubed. So there's 21 minus 1, so plus 20xy cubed. And then finally here, we have plus 3y to the fourth, and we're good. So that's that one. Now, the next one we're going to go ahead and multiply out using the box as well. I'll go ahead and move this up. We have a binomial times a trinomial, so we'll have a 2 by 3 box. So we have an a and a negative b. We have an a squared minus ab minus 4b squared. And now here we're just going to multiply this out. So this is an a cubed, negative a squared b. Here we have a negative 4ab squared. And I just write these all alphabetically. So here we have negative a squared b. Here we have negative ab squared. Here we have a positive 4b cubed. So we have an a cubed. Here we have negative 1. And then another negative a squared b squared. So we have negative 2a squared b squared. Here we have 4ab squared. We have negative 1ab squared here. So we have negative 5ab squared. Then plus 4b cubed from the end. And we're good. So that's that one there. So now it's time to do some division. And right here, on ones where we can do synthetic division, we're going to go ahead and do that. On ones where we do polynomial long division, we'll do that. So looking at this first one here, because this is a 1x to the first power, we can use synthetic division. So negative 3, we write the opposite of that. Then we strip the coefficients. 1x cubed, 0x squared, 0x, and 27. So bring this down. We have our 1, negative 3. Add, negative 3, multiply to get our 9. Add 9, multiply to get our negative 27. Add 0. So there's no remainder. So when we divide this off, we have 1x squared minus 3x's minus 9. And that's that one there. Looking at the second one here, well, once again, this is a 1z to the first, so we can use synthetic division on this. So we have 1x cubed, 0x squared, 0x's, and negative 8. We use the opposite, so we have a positive 2 here. So bring this down, 1, multiply to get our 2, add to get our 2, multiply to get our 4, add to get our 4, multiply to get our 8, remainder 0. So once again, we're going to have 1x squared plus 2x plus 4. So that's that one right there. Now, the next one we can't use polynomial long division on, or we can't use synthetic division on, so we're going to have to use polynomial long division. So let's see if we can do it here. Now we have an x squared plus 0x plus 20 minus, let's do x minus 25. Now I put in the missing terms in both of these things. So we have an x to the fourth plus 0x squared, cubed, plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 625. So I put it in both those. So first I do my division. Divide x to the fourth by x squared. That's going to give us an x squared. So then I multiply. So we have x to the fourth plus 0x cubed minus 25x squared. Now we subtract this off. That's going to be negative, that's negative, and that'll be positive. These cancel, and we have 25x squared. Now we're going to have to bring two things down here because we need as many terms down here as we have over, here. So when I bring this down, I'm going to bring down my plus 0x, and I'm going to bring down my negative 625. So next division is this. I'm dividing 25x squared by x squared. That's plus 25. So now we'll multiply out. 25 times x squared is 25x squared. 25 times 0x is 0x. And 25 times negative 25 is negative 625. When we subtract this off, we get a remainder of 0. So what we can say is the quotient is x squared plus 25. So this right here, x squared plus 25. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one last. I'm going to do these because we can do these with synthetic division really quickly. And we get, so doing this first one, we have our negative 5, so we put a 5. Then we have a 3, negative 12, negative 11, negative 20. So bring this down 3, and we change colors. 3, multiply to get our 15, add together to get our 3, multiply to get our 15, add together to get our 4, multiply to get our 20, add together to get our 0. So when we do this division here, we have a 3x squared plus 3x, oops, not squared, 3, negative 12. Yeah, 3x squared plus 3x plus 4. Sorry about that. Lost my degree there. So we can good with that. Now this last one here, it's just kind of long, and we'll get back to doing this here in a second. So to flip that around, we got negative 1, then we have 1 y to the 9th, 0, 8th, 0, 7th, 0, 6th, 0, 5th, 0, 4th, 0, 3rd, 0, 2nd, 0, 1st, and 1. So bring this down, we get our 1, multiply to get our negative 1, bring down our negative 1, multiply to get our 1, bring down to get our 1, multiply to get our negative 1, add to get our negative 1, multiply to get a 1, add to get a 1, multiply to get a negative 1, add to get a negative 1, multiply to get a 1, add to get a 1, multiply to get a negative 1, add to get a negative 1, multiply to get a 1, add to get a 1, multiply to get a negative 1, and we add to get a 0. So all told, no, let me do this over here. What we have is x to the 8th minus x to the 7th plus x to the 6th minus x to the 5th, going down here, plus x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd plus x to the 2nd minus x plus 1, and that's what we have. So we're going to do this last polynomial long division. I don't know. We'll figure out a place to do it. I guess we'll do it over here. No, this will be enough room. If not, I don't know. This is it though. So negative 3x minus 2 goes into, we have 15x cubed plus 25x squared plus 13x plus 22. Okay. So first thing we do is we divide our 15x cubed by our negative 3. Now 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Now we multiply. So we have our 15x cubed. And then on the next level, we have the multiplication. Negative 5 times 2 is positive 10x squared. And now we're going to subtract. So now when we subtract here, so let me change color here. That's negative. These cancel. 25 minus 10 is 15x squared. And we bring down our plus 13x. Okay. Now we're dividing 15x squared by negative 3. That's negative 5x. Now we're going to do our multiplying. Negative 5x times negative 3x is 15x squared. Negative 5x times negative 2 is a positive 10x. So it's a 10x. Now we're going to do our subtraction, making that negative. These cancel. 13x minus 10x is 3x. Bring down the 22. Now, at our last layer here, we're going to divide 3x by negative 3x. That's going to give us negative 1. So this is our quotient right here. So we know that it's going to be negative 5x squared minus 5x minus 1. The only thing that's left is to see what the remainder is. Now, negative 1 times 3x is 3x. Negative 1 times 2 is plus 2. When we subtract this off, that's negative, and we get a remainder of 20, so plus 20 over negative 3x minus 2, and that is the answer to that one there. So hopefully that worked out for you. If not, send me an email, let me know what's up.